First, I'd like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. I'd also like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, of the Wiradjuri nation, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people present here today. Dubbo, until 12 years ago, had 2 sewage treatment plants. The one here, which was built in 1986, but the one in West Dubbo, which was built back in 1930. Closing of Bungle Gumby obviously required us to do some upgrading. I'd now like to call on David Watson, the Public Works Project Manager, to give us his thoughts on how the project has gone.
It's been a great privilege for me and my fellow Public Works people to work with Council on what's been a very successful project. It was a project that went well and nothing that could have gone wrong went wrong. It was a real team effort from the designers to the public supervisory staff to Council technical staff and the Council operators. What I really want to say is that this was a difficult job. It was a complex job. And every one of the team can feel very proud that it was a success.
Call on the Mayor to say a few words.
Welcome to the special guests of the School Commission, in particular my fellow councillors down the front here, Kevin and Alan, and the General Manager. If you go back just a few years to Roman times, the Romans have generally been acknowledged as, I won't do the full history for the Romans. They've generally been acknowledged as the inventors of modern sewage when their aqueduct system they built back in 500 BC. But what they did with that sewage after they finished with it was pump it straight into a river. And they would love to have had a facility such as this, where we don't just pump it into a river as they did in 500 BC. We take it through a plant such as we've got here today. And this modern plant, the facility that we have here, as Stuart mentioned, the ability to handle a population in Dubbo of 55,000, that's our long-term target, our long-term plan that we have. And we're building all of Dubbo with that target in mind, so that as we keep building towards that, we don't get stuck with our infrastructure not being able to accommodate that population. So we want people to be able to come here and have no restrictions on that. This plant, as a sewage treatment plant, is incredibly impressive, and most people in Dubbo don't think about it when they flush their toilet. But if ever this wasn't here to treat the sewage, we'd all know about it very quickly. And so the whole idea of this being used sits behind the scenes, which is what Council does so often, sits behind the scenes and makes Dubbo work without a lot of fanfare or trumpets blaring. But in terms of this construction, it was a major job, obviously. 42,000 cubic metres of dirt was excavated during the process. David mentioned one of the days of concrete pouring, 4,950 cubic metres of concrete was poured in the construction of this. You've got 27,500 cubic metres of sewage out there in the bioreactors and clarifiers, and all of that means that we can have input of 350 litres per second of raw sewage, and that's a scary thought, just thinking about that much sewage coming into any plant. But that's what this plant is designed to do. That's what this plant does so well. And obviously, as Stuart said, long-term growth there, probably the next 30 years. Stuart might almost be retired by then, and get to the point where it's a long time before we'll have to do this again. So congratulations to everyone involved. It is great to see when a project does come in on time, and there's been some great people that have worked on that to bring it in on time and on budget. Again, most people in Dubbo wouldn't know that we've gone through this process and the complications, but really, without them realising, the people at Dubbo thank everyone in this room and everyone involved in this project for making sure this project has been so successful and will continue to be successful, obviously, over the next 30 years as possible. So I'd just like to ask my fellow councillors and Stuart and Mark to come forward, and we'll unveil the plaque. They give me a huge amount of pleasure to declare officially open the Dubbo Sewage Treatment Plant.